thanks you all for coming to participate in this event. And we are wishing for a great event. Thank you.
Check. Yeah, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, with such kind of remarks, don't you think they require a very big round of applause? Makofi ya kilo. Yeah? For those who don't understand what I've just said when I say makofi. Now, I believe we've all heard what they've got to say. And of course, I still welcome you to go to slido.com there. Go to Slido. The password is Kiambu. I can see already we've got so many comments that have popped up. As you can see, there's so many comments. People are saying, you know what, there are some things that need to be done. We shall be able to read all these comments as we continue with this conversation. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this forum started. Honorable Patrick Wainaina, I would like to come to you. If elected, what are some of your set priorities for Kiambu County that you have, that you are going to achieve within the first 100 days in office?
Kabisa. Hello. 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 Aya, kwanza kabisa ningetaka kwanza kushukuru kwa sababu ya kutuandalia mjadala wa leo, na tena niseme wa Kenya na wakaaji, na niseme hapa tuko na mashida kubwa.
Hello. I think it's better. Tena kwanza niwashukuru wakaaji wa Kiambu na Wadhika kwa sababu ya kunipatia, watu wa Dhika wamenipatia nafasi ya kuwasimamia kule bungeni. Miaka 5 imepita na saa hii wakanipatia baraka ya kuingia katika kinyang'anyio cha ugavana wa Kiambu. Vile mmesikia, majina ni Wainaina, na tena niseme ya kwamba nimesimama kama mgombea huru. Alama yangu ni helmet, ningekuja nayo lakini pengine tutaiona hapo baadaye. Na niseme tena, wakaaji wa Kiambu, najua tunataka mabadiliko hapa Kiambu, na Wainaina Wajango amejitolea kabisa kuleta mabadiliko, na ningetaka kabisa tuone Kiambu ikiwa tofauti. Saa hii wale tuko nao bado wanasema, nafanya ile tunasema business as usual. Katika siku zangu kwanza 100, ningetaka kwanza kuona Kiambu ikiwa connected. Infrastructure ni ya muhimu sana kwangu, na tena tumeona kuwa kuna gharama ya maisha, sio Kiambu peke yake lakini hapa Kenya. Ningetaka kuona kitu tunasema economic empowerment, na haya maneno nasema ni kwa sababu ni maneno mimi mwenyewe nishayafanya na naendelea kuyafanya. Na ningesema hata ile shida tuko nayo sana katika kaunti hii yetu ya Kiambu, ningetaka kusema ni ile tunasema corruption and impunity ndio imetufikisha pale tuko saa hii, na Wainaina Wajango angetaka kubadilisha. Na niseme ningetaka kuona uaminifu katika hii kaunti ya Kiambu ili watu wetu wapate ajira, barabara siamarike, watu wapate maji. Ningetaka kuona masomo, ukulima, ile tunaita agro processing industry. Ningetaka, in short, ningetaka kuona Kiambu ikibadilika na ibadilike kabisa.
Asante sana. Let's appreciate him. His Excellency Dr. James Nyoro, coming over to you. And of course, I'm giving you 2 minutes to respond to the same question. If elected in office again, What are your set priorities for Kiambu County that you are going to achieve within the first 100 days?
Thank you. Thank you very much, moderator. First of all, let me thank Kara and Akilna for giving us an opportunity to interact so that we can all agree that we will build a better Kiambu. On your question, I was the moderator, unfortunately I'm not. I would have framed it, when you are elected governor, what will be your achievement in 100 days? And I want to say that I've been in office for 2 years, and I know that my vision and what I would want to do is to build a prosperous, equitable, and wealthy county, specifically in terms of economic empowerment, putting more money in people's pockets. Unfortunately, many counties, including Kiambu, has been judged by whether or not they have done roads, they have provided health, they have provided all of that. My priorities are upside down. My priorities are every activity that we do in terms of service delivery, health, water, education, roads, should be towards ensuring that we improve our economic well-being. And therefore, having that as a goal, my first 100 days, which is hardly 3 months, is to start to put in the necessary infrastructure that is required to attain that. I have to say that you have to have a very, very efficient financial management system that unfortunately we may not have as of now. You also have to put in an efficient delivery mechanism plus a very well established governor delivery team that takes you and holds you accountable. I want to move accountability to social accountability, to people. So I want to build a system where people are holding me accountable on priorities, projects, and how the money is spent. So for me, 100 days is putting in the mechanisms to ensure that the subsequent period, all the goals are achieved. Thank you.
Asante sana. Let's appreciate Dr. Nyoro. Of course, I am also cognizant of the fact that you've been in office. But regardless, I'm talking about the future plans. Now, Ms. Mwende Gatabaki, same question goes to you. If you get in office, what are some of the set priorities that you have for Kiambu County that you have planned to achieve within the first 100 days? Your 2 minutes.
Okay,
starts
thank
now.
thank you very much. I'm Wende Gatabaki from Githunguri sub-county. My vision for Kiambu is to make Kiambu the best, the best city in sub-Saharan Africa to live in and for investment. That's my big goal. What I will do in my first 100 days, 100 days is set up the corporate governance, enable.
Sorry for
No
that.
problem. Okay. And here, corporate governance is 3 things. The first thing is you put is people, the right people in the right place, qualified people, people without self-interest. You know, people who are not coming there to make money and, you know, do business with accounting. The right skilled people in the right department so that they know exactly what their work is and they'll be able to deliver. That's the first thing, the people, the right people. The second thing is establish the platform. Platform, I'm saying, putting systems in place, putting business processes, using digital systems so that we can eliminate the kind of corruption that we are seeing in Kiambu today. That's the platform I'm talking about. The third thing I'm talking about is together develop our 5-year plan. What are we going to be doing for the 5 years? Once I have the people, I bring them together. We start planning for the 5 years. We have a proper plan so that after the 100 days, we hit the ground rolling and we start execution. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Thank you so much. Now, I want us to get into the focus areas that we are going to be talking about during this particular day. And I would like to start with, of course, the environment, water, health, and sanitation area. Because this is one area that some residents are struggling with when it comes to garbage collections. Now, let me come to you, Dr. Nyoro. What's your plan when it comes to this issue on garbage collection, to address the issue of garbage collection and disposal systems? Because we have areas that people have sorted to getting their own private garbage collectors when it comes to sanitation. Dr. Nyoro.
Yes, we have to agree that countrywide, not just Kiambu, that we have not adopted an efficient garbage collection and delivery system. Whether in Nairobi, Mombasa, or anywhere, as a country, we have not adopted a modern garbage collection system. In Kiambu today, we are producing about 1,200 tons of garbage. I can tell you that 70% of that is recyclable, which is basically manure from markets. And the system that we have of moving the entire of that garbage all the way to Kangoki across all our towns is inefficient, it is not hygienic, it cannot be sustained. And my plan is first of all to establish sorting centers. We, in my manifesto, have divided Kiambu into 3. We have the upper, the middle, and the lower. And you have sorting centers in the upper where you sort. Whatever is recycled can be put back in manure, as manure. Whatever is not recycled is moved into another area where I'll come to, which is to start what you call waste to energy conversion. Discussions are already in place with companies that are willing to come in through PPP to start converting waste into energy. But the waste into energy is only moving that which is not recyclable. So there's, in essence, right now we are operating 2 systems where we collect in public places, but in private places, you have private operators. But our objective is to ensure private operators continue to operate and pay the fee. The public operators will then move what is recyclable into a waste to energy conversion center through a PPP, and we produce energy that we can sell.
Right. Same question, Honorable Patrick Wainaina, when it comes to garbage collection and disposal systems. Your reaction to that?
Yeah, kwanza ningetaka nikukosoe kidogo. Jina yangu ni Patrick Wainaina Jango. Jango ni ya muhimu kwa sababu wakati wa uchaguzi hiyo ndio sane na ndio wanaangalia.
Unataka niongeze Jango?
Ongeza Jango pale.
Nimeongeza Jango.
Kabisa, asante sana. Asante sana. Na niseme kwanza kabisa hiyo uchafu ile tunaitaga garbage ni pesa. Ni rasilimali, na niseme ile shida tumekuwa kubwa kabisa katika especially county ya Kiambu ni kuwa tena na nirudie, tumekuwa na corruption kibao, na katika hii corruption ndivyo nakuta services bado hazijafikia mwananchi. Na ile garbage kama mimi vile naifanya, nimesema pale kwamba economic empowerment ni passion, ama ningetaka kuwekea mkazo kabisa economic empowerment, ama kuwezesha watu kuwa na mali. Na niseme hii garbage collection, hata pale niko Thika nikiwa mjumbe, saa hii nimetengeneza vikundi vya youth, na wale vikundi nimewezesha kwenda kuokota ile garbage wakapeleka Kangoki, na kile wakiokota unakuta wanapewa ama wanalipwa pesa na wale wanaokotea ile. Lakini vile mimi nimefanya ni vile nimewapatia means, nimewapatia tractor ya kupeleka hiyo garbage Kangoki kama facilitation, lakini ile management yote inafanywa na wale vijana. Na niseme katika harakati hizi hata wao wako na ajira, na nilikuwa naona kama Thika niko na kama vikundi 10, na kila kikundi iko na watu kama 10. Hivyo ni kusema niko na vijana 100 wamejiajiri katika collection ya garbage. Na tumeenda bali na tumesema kwanza walianza kuseparate ile garbage, na ile karatasi tuko na kadarasi na factory moja iko pale Juja, wakiokota ile karatasi cartons wanapeleka kule, alafu hiyo garbage nyingine ile tunaita organic garbage tunatengeneza organic manure, na hiyo ingine ya karatasi zingine wanapeleka Kangoki. Hivyo ni kusema hii maneno ya garbage collection kwa kweli ni pesa. Nikichukua county ya Kiambu, hiyo pesa tutaipeleka mara 1,000. Asante.
Wende Gatapaki, same question to you. Garbage collection and yes, garbage collection and garbage collection and disposal.
Yeah. So, okay, let me look at it from holistically as waste management and how we manage our waste from, garbage collection and everything. So there are two types of waste. There is a liquid waste, there is a solid waste. So liquid waste has a procedure on how it's cleaned. It has a 3-tier system. What we need to do in Kiambu is enforce the policies and the rules and regulations that we have on waste management, so that we make sure that, for example, our industries are not discharging waste which is not pre-treated. In those regulations, our industries are supposed to pre-treat their waste before they discharge. Because at the end of the day, all this, let me step back a little bit. We consume 80% of the water we consume ends up as waste. So if we don't do proper cleaning, pre-cleaning, all this ends up in our rivers. Yeah, so it ends up, polluting our rivers. So we need to be careful there. Then secondly, on the solid waste, we have the policies on solid waste management. We say there are 3 R's of solid waste management. There is reduce, there is reuse, and there is recycle. One thing you'll notice, ladies, when you do shopping, the day you do shopping, you'll notice that when you have a lot of garbage in the house. Why? Because of all those wrapping papers. You've bought vegetables, you've bought what. How do we reduce that? That's the first step. How do we reduce that? For example, you notice you have many paper bags because you've just come from shopping and stuff like that. So how do we first and foremost start reducing the waste that we are accumulating? Then the other one is that, in fact, 30% of the waste we generate in the house is from those covering materials. Now, going to the 70%, if you look at what we throw away, 70% can either be reused or recycled. So we have to come up with that value chain where that 70% is actually reused or recycled. So wherever the garbage is thrown, the government will provide a facility where we separate the garbage. What can be reused is reused, what can be recycled is recycled, and then what ends up being total waste. Total waste then is total waste. But also, let me step there and say, for example, waste from markets, that can also be made into things like biogas. So it's seeing what else can be done with it. So it's coming up with an end-to-end waste management value chain.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate them for that. And still, on the issue on health, I'm seeing a question from Wanjigo Thiga. This is one concerning health. What is your manifesto regarding health in Kiambu? Do you pledge to create a level 4 hospital that Theta Ward, Juja constituency, is in dire need of? How can we hold you accountable to this? This is on matters concerning health. And let me come to you, Dr. Nyoro.
Thank you very much. I think I would want to request to speak about an issue. If you say corruption is the issue, say what corruption there is in garbage collection, because it's easy to say something without specifically highlighting what it is. We know, I'm not saying there's no corruption, but I'm saying if you say the biggest problem when it comes to garbage is corruption, say specifically what that corruption is so that we can take care of it. Now, in terms of health, we all know that we have a population of 2.4 million people who are going to be about 4.2 by 2030. And the first thing that we need to do is to build our bed capacity. My plan is that within the first 2 years, I'm going to add an additional 2,000 beds And there are 4 hospitals that are coming up for completion. In order to do that, I don't have time to go through them. I think people know Githunguri, Rari, Wangige, and others. So my first plan is, because we want to cope with the population increase, is to increase the bed capacity by 2,000 beds. Additionally, we also need to decongest our hospitals. We are getting a lot of people coming from Nairobi and Machakos and other places to come, and they congest our hospitals, particularly now during the cold period. Our plan is to ensure that, because the non-communicable diseases comprises of about 60% of our patients, is to move them further back to level 2 and level 3, so that level 5 is left for all the other hospitals. We also would want to equip our hospital and have a very innovative way through leasing equipment to ensure that we have modern equipment all the way from CT scan, modern X-ray, MRI, so that our hospitals are one-stop shop. You don't have to send a patient out. And we can do this through leasing of equipment and others like that. We are also in discussion with some of the other modern hospitals outside the country, so that they can come and set up cardio, renal, and cancer facilities through PPP or through BOT, which is build, operated, transfer. In terms of where there is no level 4, I agree with the question, the person who asked the question. Juja does not have a level 4 hospital, unfortunately. Our plan is to ensure that every sub-county has a level 4. Kikuyu does not have a level 4 hospital. The plans are that as we increase, 2 years I say 2,000 beds, the other 3 years I will do another 2,000 beds by ensuring that Juja, Kikuyu, and other places have a level 4 hospital.
All right,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Django. Same question to you. We have the issue of a level 4 hospital that is needed. How will you address that?
Kwanza kabisa, wacha niseme jambo la ufisadi katika kaunti ya Kiambu tena imekuwa shida kabisa katika mahospitali yetu na healthcare kwa kijumla. Na sana siku hizi watu wakienda hospitali unakuta madaktari hawajalipwa, na wakilipwa wanalipwa wakichelewa. Unakuta nurses pia, na kule ukiingia unakuta wafanyikazi wamekasirika, na kule wananchi bado wanafanya kutoa pesa na wanatoshwa pesa. Kule wakitaka dawa wanaambiwa waende wanunue kule nje, wakitaka kutumia vifaa vya hospitali bado wanaambiwa waende nje, na bado wakienda pale nje wanaenda kwa daktari mmoja alikuwa anamtibu kule ndani, unakuta ni yeye ako na hospitali nyingine kule nje, ako na clinic ndio anaenda kumtibu kule. Kwa hivyo hiyo shida ni kubwa la ufisadi. Na niseme hivi, kwanza kuna kitu inaitwa monitoring. Nasema kwa kaunti pale tuko sahi, kunahitajika monitoring ya kutosha, na tena hivi, mimi kwangu ningetaka kusema hivi. Number 1, monitoring. Niweke monitoring ya kutosha, nitoe hawa wafisadi, hawa madaktari wenyewe ndio wananyanyasa mwananchi. Na tena pale kuna kitu kingine tulikuwa, in fact palikuwa na mpango pale mbele, na huo mpango ulikuwa ukiwa uko na pesa na umeenda kwa hospitali unapewa kiwango cha juu, ama service zile unapewa service ya juu, na unapewa kama ni ward, unakuta ward iko mzuri, iko na maua, iko na kila kitu, unalipa pesa juu kidogo. Hiyo pesa ilikuwa inapatiwa mwananchi ambaye hawezi kulipa pesa yote. Na yeye alikuwa anapewa basic service. Hiyo basic service nikitaka kurudisha yule mpango ili kila mtu awe na basic service. Yule anaweza kulipa, analipa juu kidogo, na yule hawezi kulipa anasaidika, lakini tutaweka bima ambayo inafanya kazi.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Honorable Mwende Katabaki, same question goes to you on the issue of a level 4 hospital.
Okay. I will look at that from a broad perspective and say what I want to introduce to Kiambu is universal healthcare, where everybody has a healthcare card. You go to hospital, nobody will ever chase you away because you don't have money, and people don't ask you for money. So that side of the money part is left to my county government. Now, to do that effectively, there are 5 areas in healthcare, in a healthcare system. So the first one is patient records. So digitize patient records so that you can go to any hospital wherever you are. If you're in Thika today, you go to Thika. If you are in Juja today, you go to Juja. If you're in Kikuyu, you go to Kikuyu. And all hospitals will be able to access your records. So first of all, have digital records for every person in Kiambu. Secondly is a medical personnel. Check what every if it's a dispensary, which kind of medical personnel is it supposed to have? The doctors, the nurses, the technicians, the radiologists. Do they have enough? Because one of the problems we have is that we don't have enough medical personnel in the hospitals. So making sure that you're checking on each hospital and its level of medical personnel. The third one is the equipment. How well equipped is that hospital? Again, they have different levels. Level one, where you have a dispensary. What is the dispensary supposed to have? What are all the equipment the dispensary is supposed to have? You have the healthcare, the health center. At every level, what is it supposed to have? When you have all this in the system, you are able to check, do they all have? Then you focus on equipping the ones which don't have. Then there is the drugs and medical supplies. Today you go to hospital and you're told there are no drugs, or come bring gloves or bring injections. Okay, making sure that hospitals have the drugs, checking their stores and stores levels, checking that the logistics from, let's say, KEMSA to each hospital, the drugs actually being received. There's a lot of corruption going in there, where drugs sometimes get to the hospital and they are sold, and I think we all know about that. So closing those loopholes on how drugs are being sold and things like that, and making sure that all hospitals are well stocked with the drugs,
right.
And lastly is the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure. Checking what has level 4, where is level 3, where is level 2, what is it supposed to have, and whatever area, whatever infrastructure it's supposed to have, making sure that it's actually there. And having a plan to meet whatever is not there, having a plan to put it in place. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Now, let me go to our site, that is site.com, because that is where we have a lot of engagement. And of course, I want to thank you so much for participating on that particular platform. If you're not yet there, I would like you to ask you to go to that particular area, slido.com, and log in using the password Kiambu. I'm also seeing a lot of engagement on our Twitter handle, on the Twitter platform. Head over to Twitter. The hashtag is Kiambu Governance Debate. Kiambu Governance Debate. That is on Twitter. I'm seeing so many engagements there on Twitter and on Slido. I would like to read a few that are connected to this issue that we are talking about here: garbage, health, water, sanitation. And this is, and if you would like to also indicate your name, feel free to indicate your name or not. Now, there is an anonymous question here that has been posted here. Someone saying that this goes to Governor Nyoro. You said that most of the garbage collection are recycled to be manure, yet fertilizer is so much expensive. To me, it's not making sense. Your reaction to that? But still, on that particular issue, on health and sanitation, there is another from Jerry Waweru. He's saying, Governor Nyoro, why haven't you honored your promise to give a stipend for community health volunteers as promised during COVID and post-COVID?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me start with the first one. There's a difference between organic and inorganic manure. I think we all know that. What I'm talking about is organic manure. This is the Lumu we all know. And this is what I'm talking about. 70% of the garbage that we collect from markets is taken to Kangoki instead of this being sorted out and then being converted into manure that over a long time will improve your soils. That is different from organic fertilizer, where you require a fertilizer factory, where you have to import all your potassium, calcium, and whatever. So what I'm talking about is long-term improvement of your soils. And I'm not talking about converting a fertilizer factory from garbage. I don't think any technology will get to that. The second one is very important. And I have to say, on this issue of health provision, every hospital in this country, whether it is a dispensary, level 2 or level 3, has a hospital management board. That board is from ordinary mwananchi. Those are the people who actually make decisions in the hospitals. So even as we talk about these issues, you know that there is a hospital management board that makes the decision and advises the governor on that. On CHVs, I do agree entirely. It is very, very unfortunate. We have over 3,000 community health volunteers. I promise, and in the budget that has just expired, we had put in 60 million to pay the CHVs. And we had started by saying, and we have equipped them. We started by saying we'll give them 1,000 shillings per month. And fortunately, we realized that we required a registration. We put the money in the budget, but we were to go back to the assembly and have a registration that allow us to give the CHVs that money. So the money went into the budget. The registration process is completely out of us because we proposed a policy and a bill to the assembly, but the assembly had to prioritize and we were running out of time. And that is why, as I promised the CHVs, they could not be paid. But now as we enter into the new assembly, the first business will be to have a registration to pay CHVs because those are level 1. And those are the people who take care of the non-communicable diseases people because they monitor your diabetes, they monitor your hypertension. Thank you.
Asante sana. Now, let me come to Django. Someone is asking here, ask Django on health issues. Most of them are implemented at the National Assembly. What had he done as an MP to improve health facilities for his people in Thika?
Kwanza kabisa, ningetaka kusema hivi. Wakati tunasikia hospitali zinaendeleshwa na boards, the buck stops with the governor. Na ningetaka kusema hivi, hizi excuses ama visababu tunapeana ndivyo zinaturudisha nyuma kabisa. Wakati unisema ati ulikuwa umebudget 60 million lakini haikutoka kwa sababu hukuwa na sheria, wewe ni gavana. You cannot budget something which you know has no legislation. Kwa hivyo wacha tuachane na mavisababu, wacha tuendeleze kazi yetu ya ugavana. Na gavana Jangu hana visababu, atakuwa anatekeleza. Tena niseme hiyo swali, ningesema ugatuzi umepeleka wizara ama kazi ya afya katika county. Na hakuna kwa national level, hakuna maneno ama hakuna hiyo kitengo ya afya. Ile afya imeachwa pale ni kutoka level 6 kwenda juu, the national hospitals. Kwa hivyo ningetaka kusema, kama ungetaka wewe mwananchi mwakazi wa Kiambu, ukitaka kuona health sector ikiendelezwa vile inafaa, nipatie kazi ya ugavana tarehe 9.
Now, I would like to come to Dr. Nyoro. Tell us about the situation at Bibirioni level 4 hospital.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to make this very clear.
Yeah.
Because the reason we are having this debate and the reason we are having Kara here is so that we can improve participation in decision making in service delivery. When I say that hospitals are managed by hospital boards, and you go here to Tigoni, you find that there is a hospital board from Tigoni residents that is managing and making policy decisions there. It is not that the governor has delegated his responsibility to that group. All what we are saying is the residents on the issues that we are raising they will be able to pinpoint because they also go there. So unless now we are saying that the governor should remove all of these, in which case then public participation is not going to be an issue. And Honorable Django, I think what you need to say very clearly, and we have said it very well, is that about 70% of health funds are remaining in the national government, whereas health has been devolved. The question which you asked, which you circumvented in Swahili, was simply this: what did you do in order to move more money from the national government to come to the counties where health has been devolved, so that you can have a more improvement? Did you either raise a motion in the National Assembly so that that can be done? But you know, when you ask a question in English, you go into Swahili, it becomes a bit funny.
But Governor, Dr. Nyoro, let me still stick on you on that, because yet you have not yet answered my question for Bibirioni.
I'm answering the question of Bibirioni. It's across here. In fact, if you shout, they can hear.
Yeah, because I believe construction is still ongoing. I don't know what's happening. It has been delayed.
Bibirioni Hospital was started earlier before I came in. COVID came. Let us be practical, even as we talk about deteriorating health facilities. I converted Tigoni here to be a COVID center. Over 2,000 Kiambu people went in, and they are alive today because we installed oxygen, and oxygen was reticulated to the rooms. So Bibirioni was interrupted because funds came to do the Tigoni Hospital. And in the process, it stalled a bit. Today, as we talk, the hospital is now being roofed. It is going to be complete in the next 6 months as a level 3 hospital to serve the Bibirioni people. But look at the distance between Bibirioni and Tigoni, which is now a level 4 with 300 beds. Look at the distance between there and Rari, which is 95% complete. All of this is what I was talking about, increasing the bed capacity by 2,000.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me come to you, Mwende Katabaki, and of course, your reaction, your rejoinder. You've heard their responses to the issues concerning payment of health workers, construction of hospitals, and matters concerning, health in the health sector of Kiambu County. What is your response to that, and do you have any possible solutions?
Yes, the healthcare system in Kiambu is wanting, and I feel we are playing games. Githunguri, the Githunguri level, I think it's a level 4 or level 5.
Level 4.
It has, level 4, thank you. It has been a shell for the last 2 years. I mean, it was started, then it was left as a shell. Now, quickly, before elections, it's being completed by the military, and I don't know who else, and the Navy and everybody, so that it can be completed before, so that they can say, somebody can say the level 4. I mean, let's stop playing games with people. Githunguri people actually are very angry. Every time I go there, they tell me how they no medicine in the hospitals. They are normally told, go and buy medicine across the chemists there. Go and bring the injection, go and bring cotton wool, things like that. Totally not acceptable, totally. And that is the role of governor. You cannot run away from that. You cannot.
What solution do you have for that?
So, what I said is, just first of all, establish systems so that you know the status of every hospital, so that you know whether this drug issue, that there are no medicines, is it because there is no medicine in Kemsa, or is it coming to that particular hospital and it's getting lost? Have a proper system and a flow of a tracking system to see exactly what is going where, so that this is continuously being monitored. What I'm going to have in my office is a dashboard mapping all the institutions, all the hospitals, for example, and checking the status of what is the issues arising from each hospital. Because unless you do that, these issues will continue. That's my take on it.
Thank you. Now, let me ask the final question concerning health, and of course, this one goes to you, Dr. Nyoro, and of course, I'm seeing so many questions here that are addressed to you, and of course, we understand why. All right? You ready for that? Igegania Hospital, that is in Gatungu North. It is a level 4 hospital. So far, no gloves, no hand gloves, no medicine, no drugs, and that is a level 4 hospital. What are you doing to solve that particular problem?
Let me say this. First of all, on the issue of Githunguri, it is so important to state the facts. Githunguri, like any other hospital, was started before COVID. COVID came in. We could have completed Githunguri Hospital, but all the other people would have died, and therefore Githunguri Hospital could be complete with no people to treat. We paused a bit, and we went to the national government, and we got 400 million shillings. We added our 200 million shillings. We requested the president so that we fast track, that we work with a contractor who was related to the military. I can tell you that in the next 3 weeks, we didn't do it because of election. In the next 3 weeks, the hospital is going to be complete. It is going to be a turnkey project. I went there last week. It is going to have a cancer center on the 3rd floor. It is 3,000 beds. It is actually our best hospital because it's far removed from Nairobi. Igegania, first of all, in terms of Igegania Hospital is in Gatundu North. It is a hospital, and I want to come back to availability of drugs and all of these things. But let me talk about Igegania. When we went ahead and made Gatundu a level 6 hospital and connected it to Kenyatta University Research and Referral Hospital, it was on agreement that the conditional grants that go to Gatundu, which will not be going there, will now go to improve Igegania and make Igegania a level 5 hospital. Now, things take time. We've signed the MOU, and the funds will start becoming available. We have started putting in an additional floor in Igegania on our way to make it a level 5 hospital. Right. But in terms of farm and non-farm availability, it is a fact that things go up and down. What I found in the county 2 years ago is that there was no central medical store. What does that mean? Drugs were coming from KEMSA and they were distributed to individual health facility. As we talk today, I have completed a central health medical store in Roiro, connected by hospital information management system, so that we can know, because Igegania may be out of graphs, but Thika has excess graphs. Now, without a hospital management information system, which was not there and which I have installed, you can very quickly transfer the graphs from Thika to Igegania, because one place there is more deliveries than the other. So these things are because we did not have a system. And 2 years into the office, I found that there was no laundry system. All the linen was hard washed. Today, our level 5 hospital and level 4 hospitals are having laundry and drying facilities. Here in Tigoni, with this weather, you could not change linen. So, right, in essence, with the hospital management information system, we'll be able to move farm and non-farm from where there is to where there isn't, even as we revamp the amount of drugs that we get from KEMSA. Remember also that we are operating a budget that is sometimes is very squeezed, and we can come to those issues later. Even as we talk about all these promises, remember you will come in and you find a budget that you cannot manage. Thank you.
Asante sana. Now, I want us to talk about development of Kiambu County, and here we're going to talk about housing, we're going to talk about urban development, we're going to talk about even the illegal structures that are there. First things first, let's talk about roads. Now, I'm looking at the road network at Kiamumbi, Pendigua, and I'm looking at one comment here by one person saying, ask Jungle whether he will be able to complete the street light project at Matangi Junction area that led to the only health center in Theta Ward, that is Hamundia HC. Yeah, that is in regards to development. So when it comes to road and development, what is it that you're planning to do? And this one, I'm starting with you, Honorable Django, to bring development in the road sector within Kiambu County if given the opportunity to lead. Because at the end of the day, Honorable Jango, there are some projects that you've not yet completed.
Asante. Wacha kwanza nitamatishe hii jambo la healthcare kidogo tu kwa hizi dakika zangu, kwa sababu najua hapo ni ya muhimu kabisa. Niseme kabisa bila kurudia sana, niseme kwanza mimi nikiwa gavana wa Kiambu, mahospitali zote zile nitaanzisha na ile inaendelea nitazimaliza. Hatutaki kuwa na white elephant for 2 years, 3 years. Hiyo ni pesa ya umma inapotea. Maneno ya dawa hatuwezi kuwa tunaongea maneno ya dawa so many years down the line kusema madawa hayafiki kwa mahospitali. Mwananchi hataki kusikia story, anataka kusikia ako na dawa, ametibiwa na maneno imekwisha. Kama hatutatibu Kiambu haitaendelea na haitaenda pahali. Kwa hivyo niseme nikiwa gavana wenu Kiambu, maneno ya healthcare nitaweka top most priority. Niseme kwa maneno ya maendeleo, niseme Wajango ni mhandisi, na mimi nimesema mara mingi yule gavana tunataka safari hii ni gavana manager ama CEO. Tuachane na wanasiasa hawatasaidia Kiambu kamwe. Na niseme pale nimesimama saa hii, sisemi nitafanya, mimi nafanya. Kama niko gavana, hata sigojei hiyo tarehe 9 nikuwe gavana wenu. Mimi naendelea kufanya miradi yangu. Kwa wakati huu niko na mradi wa kuweka stima za barabara, stima 20,000 nishaanza. In fact pale umesikia pale kwa Mondia, pale panaitwa Matangine Junction, nishaweka mataa pale kwa junction. Kwa hivyo hao watu tayari wako na 24 economy. Ukienda pale Juja pahali panaitwa Darasha, nilifungua na nika launch mataa kwa hiyo town yote. Saa hii wanafanya 24 hour economy na najua wananisikia. Na nimefungua mataa ingine hapa wa Kiamba pahali panaitwa Gathanga. Kwa hivyo kama unanisikiza na wewe ni mkaaji wa Kiambu na uko pale na unajua kule unakaa hakuna stima, tafadhali unitafute tuweke stima kwa kikao yako. Alright. Leo si kesho. Na maneno ya barabara ni muhimu sana, kwa sababu barabara ndio ina connect na ndio uchumi wa Kiambu. Na vile tuko, hata sitaongea sana juu ya barabara salami, hata ikiwa mimi naongea maneno ya track record, naongea vile nimefanya na vile nitamfanyia. Pale Thika nimeweka barabara tunaita all weather road kilomita 500, na nimesema Kiambu nitawawekea kilomita 3,000 za all weather road. Ukiwa na mazao yako ni lazima ifike sokoni. Kama unataka kwenda kazi ni lazima ufike bila kubeba viatu vya patapata, kubeba gumboot na kubeba kiatu ya rangi. Ni lazima ufike kazini ukiwa mzima.
And of course, still, Honorable Jango, still on you. People are asking, when are you planning to complete?
Hiyo mataa ya Mondia. Hiyo mataa ya Mondia.
Because you've not yet answered that question. Mataa unapanga kumaliza lini?
Andika pahali, tutaimaliza kesho. Andika pahali.
Umesikia? Wamesema wanamaliza lini? Let me come to you, Honorable, of course, Dr. Nyoro, on the issue of road construction in Kiambu County. What are you doing to improve this issue? Because we have areas like Tindikwa and the other that I had mentioned previously.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think first of all, I want to say that we are very lucky because as a county, there are so many truck roads that are traversing across, whether southern bypass, northern bypass, western bypass, and Thika Road. So we are lucky on that front. Where we have not been lucky is the rural access roads, including, and I know the road you are talking about, the road from the road from Kiambu Road all the way to Itza.
And Kiamumbi.
And Kiamumbi also. The point is, when I came in, we realized that we were spending 1.5 million shillings to do a kilometer of earth road. I innovatively introduced machinery, our own machinery, that today are doing 8 kilometers per week on earth road. And that means that we have also reduced the cost of doing a kilometer from 1.5 to 1 million. Now, the problem is, on the roads On the roads that are very specific, like the ones that you are quoting, the road to the Degwa, unfortunately, had been allocated. If you go to the Degwa, you find a signboard indicating that that road was allocated to a contractor, but there was no budget. And those are issues that are in court. I don't want to talk about them. And we came in and we could not be able to do the Degwa road because it was a court issue, it was a crime scene. And so is the Rainbow Road. Kiambu, there are several roads that unfortunately have been neglected by the previous administration. I have been in communication with the association there on how and what we need to do. But let me say, the rural access roads in Kiambu, the point really is to have a road construction machinery in every sub-county. If you can do 8 kilometers in a week or in 2 weeks, you can be able to do all the rural access road at 1 million shillings, whether you are using fuel levy or you are using other monies. In terms of urban development, I want to be very clear here, because we've had some of our contestants going in to say that they have been doing some of the roads that we've done. We have modernized Thika town. We have put in Thika Highway, Kenyatta Highway, all the way, and we have put in right in order to prepare Thika to become a city. We have been able to put in over 300 kilometers of urban roads. Right. If today you go to the Abai Shopping Center in Kiambu, if you come to Kiambu, there are 2 bypasses. So, in essence, what are we saying? In terms of, because we will come to the issue of municipalities and urban development, in terms of our urban centers, where 70% of our population is living, our plan is to ensure that the infrastructure in there is tarmac, it's not earth road. In terms of the rural roads, we want to make sure that over the next 2 years, we have done 12 kilometers in every ward over the next 2 years, as we put up these machineries or units per every sub-county.
Asante sana, asante sana. Now, but still, Governor, there is a question here. Someone is asking, when are you planning to open the Kiambu stage?
There are two things that we need.
20 seconds, yes.
There are 2 things that we need to do in Kiambu. The bypass that passes through Bazaar has not been officially opened.
Yes.
The Kiambu bus park will also be opened. It's a question of priority. If I was not here today, I would have done it. I will do it next week.
All right. And of course, I'm going to come to you in a bit, because there is something that I have just realized that you mentioned. Let me go to Ms. Mwende. If elected, what are you going to do that will bring a change in terms of road and urban development in Kiambu County?
Okay, even what I can hear from this conversation, I think one of the things that is missing is information sharing. So that people are saying, when will this road be done? When will this road be done? There are some areas, for example, I went to Larry. At those rural areas, I mean, they say their biggest problem, the border people say their biggest problem is the roads. The market, people say, just taking your vegetables to the market is a very big issue because the roads are in very bad shape. What I'm seeing here is, without a proper system of saying what roads are going to be done in every sub-county, a very clear plan which is shared with everybody so that every sub-county, they know, every ward, they know what roads are going to be done in that ward. That information is missing. So people don't know. So they wait and wait and wait, you know. Then the ones which have started and stalled, people don't know why have they stalled. You know, there is need for the county government to be communicating with people throughout on how things are being done. That is very important.
Would you do so? Would you do that?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And public participation. I feel there is lack of public participation. So that you go to an area, they're telling you about these roads. How come the county government has never even, talked about it? I think public participation is missing in the project that we are doing. Because with public participation, then they will know what roads have been earmarked to be done, what has been prioritized, what has been done and what has not been done, and that becomes a continuous discussion. There's something I wanted to mention. Kiambu is part of Namata, the Nairobi metropolitan whatever region. I feel being part there, because then the governor sits at the apex body, you're able to negotiate for this the thicker roads, the what, so that we start moving more on the public, because I feel we are not paying enough attention to public transport. We need to pay more attention to public transport, and we need to negotiate for better public transport facilities, public spaces, places for the cyclists, places for people to walk on the road. We are getting very many accidents on the road, like for example with border, people cycling, people crossing the road, so things like that. So in as much as we are doing roads, we also need to think about how they are being utilized. The accident rate for people crossing the roads is very high. We need to do something about it and put better crossing mechanisms.
All right. Now, I'm still on you, Honorable Mende, Ms. Mende. What about the issue of tenders? Dr. Nyoro mentioned that we have some roads that already have signs on tenders and for different individuals or entities. How are you going to come in and bring a synchrony in the system and ensure that things are...
One of the key issues we are having, for example, why do we have very high pending bills? Why do we have very high pending bills? That's something that has not been asked, and it's a good question, because all those tenders, why are you budgeting for money you don't have? Why are you starting a road and you don't have the money to finish it? That's something we've been doing in Kiambu. So for example, we say our own source revenue, the revenue we are going to generate internally is 4 billion. While the highest we've ever reached is 2.7. And there are no new mechanisms to make sure that you move from 2.7 to 4 billion. Then you start budgeting for that 2 billion, saying you're going to do this road, and this, and this, and this, knowing very well that you will start that project and it won't be finished. So first of all, it's changing how we budget, that we do realistic budgeting, so that you don't start saying you'll do project that you won't actually do. That is one.
All right.
Secondly, don't start a project if you don't have the money to finish it. Like from what I've heard, that we're actually starting projects that we don't have money for. I think that is totally wrong, because it also gives people the impression that we are going to do this 1, 2, 3, and you know very well, actually there's no money to do it,
All right.
so they will not even be finished. So it's just putting proper systems, do proper budgeting, don't start anything that you cannot finance.
Now, Dr. Nyoro, there's a question from Mukami Gikuni. She's asking, Gikuni Road has been pending and yet the tender was awarded over 2 years ago. Would you like to respond to that?
Let me say this. And the reason, first of all, I said we are lucky because we have these main track roads. If you go to Kabete today, both Kabete and part of Kiamba, you will see that out of Western Bypass, we have probably gotten almost 30 kilometers of roads that are bifurcating or coming out of Western Bypass. So just by having the Western Bypass pass through us, we have benefited in ensuring that we have gotten those roads. But let me say this. I think information, I agree with Mwende, because I think she also needs to get information that there is not a single project, particularly in urban development, any single project that we do without the members themselves identifying in a public participation, particularly under the Kenya Urban Support Program, which is very clear, have been funded by the World Bank. You cannot even touch. I know you've worked close to those institutions without public participation. So even when you talk about public participation, let us be very practical. This is done because priorities are such that you cannot touch any of those donor funds or urban funds without public participation. What I agree with is you need to tell Rally people that in 2027, the road between Kamae and Kirasha will be done. If that is what you want to say, planning ahead. Once you enter into government, you realize that you have a plan, but it is followed by a cash flow. And the cash flow would dictate on when you will do that. You have already told the people when you do the road, but your cash flow is influenced by factors that are completely external to you. Some of these things you probably have to go in to realize the difficulties that there are.
Right.
Now,
All
in
right.
terms of the Gekoni Road, we need to differentiate because they are the roads that I'm telling you about. Roads that are bifurcating or moving out of the western bypass that are done by Kenya or Kera. As opposed to the roads that we and Gekoni people know, that the roads that we have started in Gekoni, including Gekoni Shopping Center, we have completed in time. So the road that is being referred to is a Kera road, which bifurcated from the western bypass and not our own road.
All right, thank you so much. Let's appreciate him. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask this question because, and this goes to all of you, all our candidates. You will have 1 minute to respond to this. And here I'm talking about resident associations. This event was organized by Kara. Resident associations are key stakeholders in government of the county, and their involvement in service delivery, decision making, is something that is very, very important. But now, how do you intend to work with and engage resident associations in service delivery?
Asante sana Bwana Ram. Na Ram, pengine saa zingine tunapata wakati kidogo kwa sababu pengine maswali inaelekezwa pande moja, lakini pengine unipatie tu wakati kidogo ili nikumalizie maneno ya barabara.
Nilikupata nafasi ukaongea kuhusu barabara.
Alafu nipatie sasa nafasi ya hiyo swali mpya. Sasa kwanza ningetaka kusema hivi. Niseme kwamba nafurahia sana na ningetaka kushukuru Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya kwa sababu amefanya accent kwa bili yangu nilikuwa nimetoa ya malipo wakati umefanya tenda ya umma na pesa yako inakwama kule. Nilitoa bill nikasema kama unapeana kazi na huna pesa ya kulipa hiyo kazi, basi itabidi tuseme serikali iwe na bank what do you call it, bank guarantee. Kwa hivyo kama hutalipa yule mtu, basi yule ataenda alipwe na ile bank, na sasa itakuwa serikali na bank, na hiyo bill imekuwa accented. Sasa ni implementation. Na niseme nashukuru sana serikali ya Kenya.
Asante sana.
Na ningetaka kuweka hii in context kwa sababu nasikia sasa hapa county inapeana kadarasi na haina pesa. Kwa hivyo sasa Gavana Nyoro, ujue Wajango wakichukua hiyo serikali, sasa itakuwa ni vile watu watalipwa wakichukua kadarasi.
Asante.
Na niseme hivi.
Yes.
Hizo trakta zote 12, hata Thika kuna moja, lakini trakta iko na mafuta hakuna. Sinakaa tu kule bure. Na nifafanue barabara za Thika. Kulikuwa na uvumi atilisitengenezwa na serikali ya county. Nikitaka kuambia wakaaji wa Kiambu, barabara za Thika nilipewa na national government 700 million na tukasifanya zote ukarabati. Na niseme CIDP, public participation, ni ya umuhimu. Bimwende, asante sana, kwa sababu unakuta mimi niko na barabara natengeneza Thika. Nikianza hivi unakuta county katika za county zimekuja zimefamia barabara ile tu. Vile nauliza ni hivi, kwani hakuna barabara nyingine county ingekuchukua na watu wa Thika?
Bwana Jango, ningependa nikukatisha hapo kwanza na ujibu swali langu.
Wacha sasa nijibu.
Nakupa sasa dakika moja.
Na bado ukumbuke kuna maneno ya pending bills, hiyo usisahau.
Bado kuna mambo mengi ambayo tutaangalia. Ningependa uchukue dakika moja ama nitaenda kwa mwingine.
Niseme mimi mwenyewe nimekuwa chairman wa resident association kule nakaa Kiboko. Nimekuwa chairman wao kwa miaka 7 na nikaweka mabadiliko kibao. Na ningetaka kusema hivi, watu ndio mali na ndio tunatumikia. Na mimi katika ile kazi yote nitafanya hapa Kiambu, nita-involve na nitashughulikia resident association. Kwanza waniambie wangetaka tufanye nini. Ile kazi nitafanya nikiwa gavana wao, nitafanya kwa teamwork na tutabadilisha Kiambu sisi wote.
Asante. Asante sana. Still, Dr. Nyoro, coming over to you. Public participation and how you intend to involve resident associations.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to say that I've had an opportunity to meet Akilna. I have personally worked with neighborhood associations, and I want to pick one, Mushroom. And that's the kind of relationship that I would want to have. One, and I've said it very categorically, that we can promise all these 5,000 kilometers, I don't know who do what, there is a limitation of funds. And the problem is that given a certain amount of resources, the question would be, would I take it to Kiambu or would I take it to Mushroom? And we have had discussions with the neighborhood associations, and we have agreed, and like for instance, we have been doing a joint road with the neighborhood association going to Mushroom and Kogeria. The point is, we have agreed that we will work out a memorandum where we will do a PPP, where we want to bring, because you are staying there, you want very good road, you want rights, you want water, you don't have to wait. A private investor would come in where we would give security ourselves so that we can work with the neighborhood association to complete that road faster. Then the repayments can come in even as you pay your ad rates, even as you pay your other sources. So one way is to establish a public partnership with you so that you can advance your neighborhood very quickly without waiting for the resources, so that our public resources will go to Kiambu, but then the private equity or private money would come to improve on you. Second one is to for self-regulation. If you want to have very clear self-regulation, because we have a lot of things where we do not abide to the regulations that you have put, and I have discussed with you. One of the reasons is that you have a new member who comes in, who does not want to subscribe to your association, and they do not want to pay for the amount of money they are supposed to pay for the roads or for the other infrastructure, but then they very quickly pass their fiscal plans to us without passing through you, and we approve, and then you don't get that dues. What we have agreed with the neighborhood association is that we will not approve any fiscal plan unless it has come from you, and you have stamped, and you have said that we are okay with this person because he has paid our dues. The third one is on zoning, ensuring that what you agree in your bylaws are met, and for us is just to enforce, so that you don't get a zone which is supposed to be a residential area which is converted into a commercial center. That way we want to ensure that you maintain the beauty of your environment. So this is a continuous process where there's going to be a dialogue between us and the neighborhood association in order to improve, and that will also increase our revenue collection from where you sit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Wende, over to you on the issue, the
Yes.
same question. Yes.
Yes, I totally agree with that. The 4 Ps, I call them the 4 Ps. People, the people, a partnership between people, the public, the private partnership. So there are 4 Ps there. Because, for example, on waste management, engage where what private sector does best. Engage them, let them do that. There are areas where private sector does a lot better than in the public sector. Now, coming to the community associations and these kind of groups, engage them because they know their issues best. First of all, they know their issues best. Engage them in finding solutions. They know the solutions even better than you do. So engage them in discussing the issues, in discussing the solutions. Facilitate service access. For example, if it's, let's say, lighting, this is where you also bring in the technical expertise and benchmarking. For example, you say, instead of spending so much on electricity, why don't we use, solar, things like that. So you bring in the technical expertise, the engineers in the government. Here is also where you also facilitate them to get the financing. I know many community organizations are also fundraising to do their own project, but facilitate to get them implemented. And also for them to have good governance structures so that they also don't end up also having, these corruption issues, which some of them are having now. The other thing I think we have not mentioned, but just allow me to put it in, we have talked a lot about services. I think the one thing we haven't talked about is what is going to finance these services. Because Kiambu is broke, and it's urbanizing so quickly. So quickly, okay? And it's the biggest, in fact, 60% of Kiambu, we are saying, is urbanized. but we don't actually have the money to set up the infrastructure to provide the services required for the rapid urbanization that is happening in Kiambu. I think that is something that needs to be addressed, because we are getting to a stage where then like what is happening, you've seen, I think, how Ruaka itself has grown. So many flats, so many, there's no sewage, there's no water, some of them don't have water, some of them don't have lighting. It's something we need to discuss. How are we going to finance it? We need to actually have a plan for financing the rapid urbanization of Kiambu, which is happening right now.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate her. Tumpige makofi. Tumpige makofi. Asante sana. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many issues that we have not managed to address because of time. But I would like to give you a chance. So far to the point that we have reached, do you have any questions for our gubernatorial candidates? Do we have a microphone that is there? Let me, who has a microphone? Who is going to be passing it out or passing it through? I need to know somebody who will be doing that. Now, keep your questions straight and direct. Before we start, let me just know how many questions we have. How many? One? Just wait. We have one. My goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll start with you. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 questions. Okay. I will give you that opportunity if you've got 10 questions. 11. If you promise me that you will keep your questions you will ask your questions within 30 seconds. We agree. If you want 1 minute, post it on there. 30 seconds. Only if you agree. 30 seconds. Do we agree? To make a gano, 30 seconds each. And of course, where's my phone? Yes. You too. All right. Okay, no problem. So because they've got to leave, I will only request that you only ask a question that has not been addressed. Okay? Only that which has not been addressed. And thank you so much for being sincere. Asante sana. So let me start with you. I promise you. 30 seconds.
Okay. Thank you, our candidates, for availing yourself. My 2 questions straight to one to Governor Nyoro. We have this road from Red Hill, Posta area, that connects with Gekoni. It was tarmacked and left at just a small section that would have allowed us to connect with Gekoni. What is your government, and now that you are seeking a fresh turn of fresh, what are you doing to address that issue? The second question is about the flower farms that are within Red Hill area. What do we get is back to the community from the investors who are from out of the country, and yet they are polluting our rivers. We cannot get now fresh water because already they are polluting our rivers.
Thank you. To you.
Good morning. My question has been pending bills. I've been a contractor with Kiambu County, and we have been even called by the National Assembly and been assured we are going to be paid. But this was not addressed. What is happening? Because we are frustrated and no longer willing to work with the county.
Thank you. Let me come here.
My name is Rido. My question is about water service providers, especially Kiambu Waters. How are you going to do to make sure that the distribution of water is extended to other areas like Kiamombi, Mugumo, and Kukenda, where it is not being served by Kiambu Water?
All right, thank you. Let's answer those questions first, and then we proceed. And Dr. Nyoro, Honorable Wainaina, and Ms. Gwende.
Thank you.
Yes.
This will be quick. The road you are referring to, the lead hill, yes, I do appreciate that there is a section that has not been done. It's a very critical road. It connects to Gekoni, as you have said, very, very critical. The problem was that it was not prioritized. As I said, public participation takes place when we are looking at urban. So when we were doing public participation for the urban roads for Kabete and Remuru, it was not prioritized. What we have done now is we have prioritized that road, because essentially we do not start at the urban development. We do not start a road that is not completed. And we don't start a tarmac that ends up on an earth road. So it is a priority in our plan now, in our urban plan, because it has already been prioritized going forward. What we have agreed, and we know that this is the end of the year, we have agreed that we can do the road as we await the urban funds available from September, God willing. On flower farms is a general question. Really, the proposal, and you know there was a law that was passed, that 25% of the revenue that is collected within a particular area is left in between. As you probably know, most of the flower farms, they pay directed to cafes and other national bodies. We as a county only charge a very small fee. So the aspect of polluter pay principle, which is basically what you are saying, they're extracting more water, they are polluting more water. You know, we had a problem actually at just here, Kabuku, when one of the dams burst and it swept out a whole village. We are now talking with WASREP to ensure that we implement the polluter pay principle. If you extract too much water, then you pay for it. Pending bills is a pending question. It is a major, major issue. You people know the kind of readers that you had until 20th of January 2020. There was an accumulation of 5.2 billion shillings on pending bills. What we have done is to prioritize on FIVO, first in, first out basis. And that is why we are slow. I can tell you, and these people need to know, that if you are given 800 million, one exchequer, 600 going to recurrent, and you only have 200 remaining, which you have to give to assembly and whatever, when you cannot even pay recurrent bills, leave about pending bills, we have a plan now. And our plan is to ensure that we are sourcing more revenue. We have a plan to have an infrastructure bond so that more of the money that is going towards road construction can come towards paying pending bills. But it's a major issue. It's a pending issue.
Thank you.
And water distribution, we can talk that. I have a master plan for every sub-county. Your water may not necessarily come from Kiambu, and you know very well that the water we are drinking here today comes from Roromo in Rari. I have a master plan for the whole county, and each sub-county has a water master plan that we need to implement. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, to our panelists also, just as I am going to be strict on them with time, allow me to also be strict on you with time. Allow me to do so. Let me start with you, Honorable Mwende.
Just two things. Pending bills, we really need to work on that. I mean, I've read the controller of budget, and they have said the way Kiambu is going is totally unacceptable. So in as much as we say how when you took over it was like this, no, the last 2 years under your watch, it's also been out of control. Secondly, that needs to be looked into. There's something which was not raised. The whole idea of Kiambu having a manual payroll. You know, the government creating a manual payroll on one side, but creating a very good system for collecting revenue. How do you collect revenue? And actually, the collection of revenue went up by 40%. Then we have 860-something million that went out through a manual payroll. For me, that there is something very wrong about that. And what are we showing to other counties that you can, create manual things and get away with it? I mean, it's illegal. And Kiambu, we should not be doing illegal things at this stage. Okay. Secondly, on the water companies, actually it's both water and sanitation because they go together. I'm creating a master plan for water and sanitation for the whole county on how it's going to be addressed in partnership with the water companies, so that any sub-county has a water company, and we implement this so that we resolve, holistically we look at the water and sanitation and we resolve the problem.
Right, thank you. Bonajango, you respond to that, and of course, and then I will come back to the audience. 5 more questions. Bonajango,
Asante
1
sana.
minute.
Asante sana. Ningetaka haraka sana kwanza nianze na hiyo jambo la pending bills, na niseme hivi, saa hii pengine gavana anaweza tuambia, mimi nikisikia wanasema pending bills za Kiambu ni 9 billion, wengine wanasema ni 5 billion, mimi sijui tumekaa wapi pale. Lakini tena ningetaka kusema hivi, huyu gavana ametupeleka mpaka kule. In fact nilisoma pale pengine nikaona Kiambu tumefirisika. Hata saa hii sijui gavana Jango ataanza wapi. Lakini ningetaka niseme hivi, yule amekuwa gavana na yule amekuwa senator, hata alikuwa mhusika kwa hii debate na hakufika kwa sababu wengine aliogopa. Lakini ningetaka kusema hivi, mbona senator mwenyewe anasimamia gavana peleka Kiambu mpaka inafirisika? Wakati mwingine nikasema Kiambu imekuwa gunia imeraruka. Sijui tutaanza wapi, na niseme hii ni lazima hawa wawili wawe totally responsible. Unfortunately watu wawili wanataka kuwa magavana. Sijui watupeleke wapi, na Kiambu imefirisika. Huwezi kuwa kabisa. Kiambu ni kampuni, is an enterprise. Kama uko na pending bills, ni kusema hiyo pesa ilienda pahali na ingekuwa inasaa pesa zingine za kulipa pale. Huwezi kuwa uko na pending bills na hakuna pale unaweza tuonyesha pesa ilienda wapi. Hayo ndio maneno Jago wataanza pale, na maneno ya ufisadi tung'oe hiyo. Lakini ningetaka kuambia wakaaji wa Kiambu, tukianza hii serikali, kila kadarasi tutakupatia kutakuwa na pesa ya kukulipa. Tunajua watu wanajinyonga saa hii sababu ya pending bills, na mimi nikiwa na gavana wenu nitajaribu juu chini nione vile tunaweza suluhisha hiyo issue ya pending bills na collection ya pesa.
Asante sana. Thank you so much, Bwana Jango. Now let me come to you. You've got 30 seconds.
Well, I'm a resident and I'm very keen, or rather tech savvy, and I always get my information online. So there was an article on Taifa Leo, which was also on Twitter. That's on the 7th of July 2022, and it listed the governors. Now, Honorable I'd be very curious to know your version of the story, because this is public news. This is something that is on the media. This is on Taifa Leo on Twitter. Had listed you as two. Number one is the current Nairobi governor, that's, and then whereby there is 6 billion that's missing, and Maendeleo, which is 600. Yes, there is a list of other governors, but as a resident, of course, I would be quite keen on this information. So I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you so that you can give us your version of the story.
Now, of course, we will respond to that. Where's the microphone? Give it to her. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank our readership, and I have just one question. I come from Kiambu, and I'm talking with a lot of pain. When I remember, I'm a nurse, and people come to my place so that at least I can give them help. Yet, the roads are deplorable. They are bad. In the last 5 years, Mr. Nyoro, you've been there hata kama ni hiyo miaka mbili, and I'm kindly requesting you, for the last these few days that are remaining, you tell us, the residents of Kiambu, what are you going to do for us? We are crying, and it is very sad. The other thing is about health. Ni kama Kiambu imesahaulika. I'm a nurse, and I had to make sure that I go to Nairobi. I work in Nairobi County to make sure that our people get COVID vaccines. So please, I'm kindly requesting something to be done in Kiambu.
All right,
Tafadhali.
Let me come to you. And please.
Thank you. My name is James Kirago from Tigoni and also RKRA. 2 issues. One, we have been given a lot of promises about the price of unga, and I say that figuratively. It is basically the price of food. But the price of food will not improve if the underlying agriculture is suffering. So the question is, and in this area, there is tea in particular, agriculture, small-scale farmers with eggs. What is going to be your policy, whoever is elected, with regard to agriculture and tea in particular?
All
Two
right.
is
Asante.
access to public offices, which we cannot access. We send communications there, they are not answered. Can you please give us a promise and a charter that any communications we send to the county government
Thank you.
are going to be answered in 7 days? Thank you.
Asante sana. Let me come to you. 30 seconds.
Thank you. My name is Wamboi. I'm from Gatondo. My question is, I took my parents to Gatondo Hospital. They're not, and they're not drugs. There's no medication. So, why isn't there? I want to ask coming governors, will you ensure there will be medication? It's a mess. Thank you.
I hope you heard that question. Yeah, but I believe that was addressed a bit earlier. 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I'm Bernard Mwangi Njoroge. I work with Kera, and we are doing some loads within Limuru. My question is, I was a student at JQuad. My question goes to Governor Nyoro, because you are the current governor. What have you done to solve Kiambu problems using the resources that you have? One of the resources that you have is the universities. What is the link between the universities and the technical schools within Kiambu? How are you using that link to solve the problems that we have? Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, let me come to you.
Good morning. My name is Agatha. I'm from Gatondo South. I have a question. As it is right now, Kiambu is headed to become a concrete jungle. Do you have intentions of zoning out certain areas to make them pure agriculture? What incentive do you have to make it attractive?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to take only those questions, and then we have a reaction from our candidates. Let me start with you, Dr. Nyoro, and then Honorable Django, and then...
Very quickly on this. Let me first of all state on what Madam Mwende talked about. When you read the question, also read the answer. We have provided an answer on the manual payroll and why manual payroll starts before you go to IPPD. Whenever you are a new employee, you don't get an IPPD number. You are in the manual payroll until you get an IPPD. It is actually a suspense account before you move. And that is why we have a manual payroll. And when that question was asked by the auditor, we responded. So you only read the question, but you did not read the answer. Now, in terms of the article that you are referring to, I would personally want to say that I want to know the details, because it has not been raised in my office as an audit. So you are referring to a newspaper. I would rather not comment about it because I don't know the details. I didn't have the chance to read Taifareo like you did, but I would want to get the details, then I can give you a technical answer. That is my response to your question. On Kiamombi, I entirely agree with you. And let us be factual here. When you are looking for readers, start with your MCA and to look at your member of parliament. Because even if you have a magician governor, the governor will not know the petty small issues at your local place. The problem with Kiamombi today is that the MCA that you elected was concentrating on Duberry and Township and those areas, and he totally neglected Kiamombi. I have personally gone out and discussed with Kiamombi Association, a guy called Simon Muraya, if you probably know him. We have sat together and we have agreed that there are quite a number of roads that we need to do. We have agreed on the health center, but that is specifically because in the 2 years I have been in the office, that particular MCA has never come to talk about Kiamombi. He talks about the bazaar, which have put tarmac, and so on and so forth. So, as we think about leadership, let us know that there is a role of an MCA, there is a role of an MP, and the role of a governor. But I agree with you, I have a date through Sam Muraya to meet the association and agree on the things that needs to be done.
Thank you.
On agriculture, you know very well that my passion is in agriculture. And I can tell you that we have very, very clear plans of zoning. As I said, the neighborhood association will help us in zoning and ensuring that this concrete jungle does not continue. But let me tell you, there is always a difference between your private interests and social interests. The social interest is to make sure that we do not have a concrete jungle. Your private interest is that if it is not profitable to do coffee and it is profitable to do an estate, the Constitution, no, listen to this. Yes. The Constitution allows you to have your own private interests. So what we are doing is we can raise, and we are working to have high value agriculture so that you can reduce the opportunity cost of land, so that you don't get tea uprooted, so that tea is paying. But you know that tea also has a role at the national government. So we'll be working together with you in order to see areas that need to be zoned and that cannot be converted. But when it comes to you being sick, you probably will have to have an acre for you to go to a hospital rather than your community. And I think there was an issue of I think I've answered the concrete jungle.
Thank you, Dr. Let me proceed with the next one, of course, Ms. Mwende.
Thank you. That article, I also read it with a lot of concern, because actually we are being quoted as the second most corrupt county in Kenya. And let me say something. Corruption starts in the governor's office. By the time you go to MCAs, they copy what they are seeing. You know, if something is happening in the governor's office, it will be copied by everybody else below it. Corruption in Kiambu is starting in the governor's office. There are no two ways about it there. Secondly, there was a very good question on agriculture. My thinking how to make Kiambu the best city to live in and the best city for investors in Africa involves splitting it into 4 big cities, thematic cities. One will be agribusiness. That agribusiness city is the one which will make Kiambu the food basket of Kenya. The second one is healthcare. This is where we are going to do with we make the best healthcare facilities in that city so that people can stop going to South Africa and to India. People will be coming to Kiambu healthcare city. Education, this is where the Silicon Valley of Kenya will be in the education. And then we have the convention where the malls, the recreation places, the leisure, the conference rooms will be. So I'll split it into, that's my idea. And to come back to your question, is to make sure that we have an area in Kiambu which is reserved for agriculture, and we intensify our agriculture, we build our markets, we make Kiambu the food basket of this country. Thank you.
Asante sana. Let me come to you, Honorable Jango.
Ya kwanza kabisa nikitaka kusema hivi. Kiambu, na nilisema nikifungua nikasema Kiambu tunataka uongozi mpya, ni lazima tubadilishe Kiambu. Hii ufisadi unasikia, corruption, Kiambu being the second most corrupt county in the republic. Hii ni jambo la kuhuzunisha sana. Na ukisikia corruption ujue pale ni lazima kuwe na ofisi ya gavana, kuna ofisi ya senator, na ikiendelea hivyo. Hivyo ni kusema tayari kama tukiongea hii mjadala watu wawili tumewaondoa kwa kinyang'anyio. Haya, alafu niseme hivi, pale Kiamombi ningetaka kusema hivi, kweli mimi Wajangu mimi nitakuwa your magical governor. Hiyo barabara tayari nimeandika ujumbe pepe, nimetumia watu wangu wa barabara, wataiangalia na tuongee bandala ya haya maneno. Niseme tena hii maneno ya manual payroll, saa hii wakati kama huu, kwa nini tunaongea maneno ya manual? Tuko na IT. Kenya I think is the most advanced in technology. Tuna jihela, tuko na M-Pesa, tuko na vitu mingi. Bona saa hii bado tunalipa manually. Sababu ni moja tu, kwa sababu kuna watu wanapenda na wanakaa wakitegemea ufisadi. Food security, kuna program iko hapa Muguga. Agri City ilikuwa na provision ya 8 billion, ilikuwa inadhaminiwa na World Bank. Mpaka wakati huu hiyo Agri City haijaanza hata wakati huu, na hiyo ni bilioni 8 imepotea. Sidhani hii wiki 3 kama kuna mtu anaweza iokoa. Na niseme mimi nikiwa Jango nitaanzisha mpango wa agro processing. Nimesema mimi ni mhandisi, nimesema mimi ni mtu wa biashara. Ningetaka ukulima wetu ukue ukulima biashara, na ukulima uko na viwanda. Hakuna haja ya kukaa tukiuza maziwa yetu kwa Kamonyore. Alafu ningetaka kusema maneno ya medication sana kabisa, sitarudia, lakini niseme hivi: tukitoa ufisadi watu watatibiwa.
Asante sana.
Na nikimalizia niseme kuna hii maneno ya concrete jungle. Concrete jungle inatokelezea kwa sababu ukulima wetu hauna pesa. Wacha tuweke pesa kwa ukulima, wacha tuweke viwanda vya ukulima, basi utaona ukulima uko na pesa, uko na fedha, uko na hela. Utaona watu hataki kujenga manyumba, wangetaka kuweka makadamia na avocado na kuprocess maziwa yao.
Asante sana. Now, let's give them one big round of applause, please. Now, I would like to give this opportunity to all of us. Keep on doing what you're doing there. I can see the votes are continuing. Keep on voting. I would like to give an opportunity to each and every one of our gubernatorial candidates to have 2 minutes to have a final word. Speak to the people of Kiambu County. What is your final word as we end this forum? I would like to start with Ms. Gatapaki.
The people of Kiambu, our biggest problem today is social issues. Alcohol and drug abuse. Suicide, we have the highest suicide rate in the country. Rape, we don't talk about rape. It's happening every day. Our girls and boys are being raped. Women are being raped. Rape is becoming normalized. So it's very, very, very bad. And as a mother, as a wife, I feel very bad about what's happening in this country. And we are not talking about it. I am humbly asking of you to vote for me, because with all my competitors, none of them is even talking about social issues. I'm the only one talking about social issues. And if our homes are broken, there is nothing we'll be able to do. It doesn't matter how good the roads are. If your home is broken, our homes are totally broken. Our social fabric in Kiambu is totally broken. Give me this chance to build our homes, to build our county, so that we can take it back to the top where it used to be. Give me your vote. I ask you for your vote. I'll not let you down. I'll help you build our homes, look after women, look after single mothers, look after our disabled, look after our senior citizens, look after our men who are also complaining they're totally unhappy. Create jobs for the youth. I will not let you down. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think
Dr. Nyoro, your 2 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much. I want to say this. We have inherited a very corrupt county. And that is why I said we need to go and look at that report and say when they are referring. Because if it was not corrupt, then you would not have had a governor impeached because of misuse of 2 billion shillings. So I would really want to see the details of that, because we definitely are in office because of corruption. And one thing that we really have to do is to maintain a very transparent and accountable system to the residents of Kiambu. And in my manifesto, besides talking about putting more money in people's pocket by ensuring that we transform our agriculture, we create jobs, we invite manufacturing and industrialization, that I have put in 1.3 billion shillings for Jinue, for small and medium enterprise. We also have to do that through efficient delivery of services. We have been in the county for 2 years. We have laid the foundation. We just need to build on that foundation. The most important thing is social accountability. Let us devolve to the village level so that we have village committees that are holding us accountable on priorities of projects and also on how the quality of those projects are. For the people of Kiambu, I'm telling them, I have been tested through the most difficult time, the COVID time. We managed COVID despite all the difficulties. We now have 54 ICU beds. We have over 1,500 beds. We have done 560 kilometers of rural roads within 2 years with COVID. We've done 300 kilometers of bitumen. I am saying this is only the beginning. The GNUE, so far, 50 million has been taken by people to improve on their business.
All right.
This is only the beginning. I'm asking you, let us drive facing forward. Let us hold each other accountable.
All right.
And with me,
Asante.
you are in safe hands. Thank you.
Asante sana. Let me come to you, Honorable Jango. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Mkaaji wa Kiambu, uko na chaguo la Jango, na mimi nikiangalia pale nimekaa naona Jango pengine ndiye amestahili kiti kwa hizi sababu. Wacha tuangalie tuone, tungetaka kiongozi wa vitendo, sio kiongozi wa kusema watafanya, hata pale wakikalia kiti saa hii bado wanatuambia watafanya. Wajango, ukitaka barabara nipigie simu saa hii. Ukitaka stima nipigie simu saa hii. Miche ya makadamia na avocado nipigie simu saa hii. Ukitaka wheelchair nipigie simu saa hii. Ukitaka kitu ya economic empowerment nipigie simu saa hii. Ugavana wangu ni wa saa hii, sio wa tarehe 9. Tarehe 9 ni kuendelea na kusukuma. Na tafadhali, kama mtu ashakalia kiti ya ugavana, kama kuna mtu amekuwa kwa kiti ya usenita hapa Kiambu, huyo mtu hata kusaidia kamwe. Huyo mtu ataendelea na business as usual ya kuharibu Kiambu na kuipeleka sijui wapi. Pending bills utakuwa unakuta iko sasa bilioni sijui ngapi. Wakati ndio huu wa kubadilisha Kiambu ibadilike kabisa. Wacha tuangalie na tutafute yule gavana akona uaminifu, hawezi guza pesa yako kamwe. Wacha tutafute gavana ambaye ni msimamizi, manager, CEO, atupelekee Kiambu mbele. Hawa wengine watararua Kiambu. Kiambu tunataka isimame na ikuwe Dubai ya Kenya. Hakuna haja ya kusema maneno ya Ulaya. Ulaya inaweza kuwa hapa.
Asante sana, asante sana. Ladies and gentlemen, mumesikia kutoka kwa hawa watu wote, sivyo? So at the end of the day, the decision is upon you. I would like to call upon Mr. Peter Geshe to give his closing remarks. Let's give him one round of applause.
Nafikiria asubuhi leo imekuwa njema na tumepata nafasi ya kuwasikiliza hawa magovernors wetu, na tuko na njia moja ama mbili ya kuweza kuchagua ni gavana gani mzuri. My name is Engineer Geshe Karanja. Sorry, inatuangusha mitambo. Ni Engineer Geshe Karanja, chairman wa Kenya Alliance of Kiambu Residents and Neighborhood Association, ambao imeshirikiana na Kenya Alliance of Residents Association kulete huu mjadala ama hii forum. Kama vile Henry alisema tukianza, hii ni forum ambayo ni tofauti na rallies ambazo tunahudhuria, kwa sababu tuna nafasi ya kuuliza maswali yale ambayo tungetaka tujibiwe ili tuweze kuweka njia zetu. Na hawa ambao they have agreed and accepted our invitation. There were 6 candidates that were invited to this forum. But hii ni heshima kubwa kuonesha kwamba wanaheshimu huu mwaliko wa wakaaji wa Kiambu. Tunawashukuru sana, na pia tumeshukuru kwa vile ambao mumejikakamua na the way you have handled the debate with a lot of decorum. We want to say this, that all of you have been residents one way or another in an active capacity. And our intention as residents is to have this partnership. These the 4 Ps you're talking about, because our interests are the same interests like the government of the county or the national government. In fact, hawa wakaaji hawa invest more than the government in their neighborhood, which means they need to protect that investment for their future and for their children. And the only thing we want the government to do is to facilitate and be present. Ndio wakati wanaweka zile vitu wanatakiwa kuweka serikali, tunashughulikiana pamoja. And in fact, these places that we are thinking about, Ulaya, it is already here, only that the resident associations are lacking that partnership, because many times they are seen as the other against the government, as opposed to viewing them as this. And that is why we would want, if you have not put it in your manifesto, because one of you will be elected anyway, if you have not put it in your manifesto, how you will engage residents association, tunaomba tafadhali iwekwe, kwa sababu kama sisi tungetaka kuiona, that will be one of the ways we will judge who to vote for come 9th of August. And we want to promise that those who are looking at partnering with residents and citizens, those are the ones that we will be focusing on. So we want to thank you, and asanteni sana na tunashukuru. And I think all of us, personally, I am happy that we organized this event. It has helped me to make a judgment. Thank you very much.
Sana sana. And I would like to call upon Henry Ocheng, Mr. Henry Ocheng, the CEO of Kara, to give a vote of thanks. Let's appreciate him.
Thank you very much. I know our guest must leave, so I don't want to take even more than a minute. I want to thank all of you for creating time to be here for this session. I think it has been a very productive debate, and I hope that you are able to make your choice now very clearly. I also want to thank the candidates for honoring this invitation and for putting forward a case of why you should be elected. I think we talked about issues, and we are able to see very clearly what your vision is for the county. Asanteni sana, and for our partners, thank you, Hansdale Foundation. Thank you for all those who have worked in one way or the other to make their success. Our affiliate member, Akirna. If you're not a member of a resident association, please make sure you join a resident association. Whether it is at your neighborhood level, at Kiambu level, at Kara level, we want to see you actively getting involved on issues that directly affect you. You'll make it easier for whoever is elected to also engage with you, because if you're not organized, they don't know who to talk to. But if you have your structure and your leadership, they know that they can be able to talk to your leadership and engage you in a more productive and effective way. So please actively engage, join a membership to contribute to its well-being. So with those remarks, ladies and gentlemen, let me appreciate our moderator, Azenti. A clap for him, please. So thank you very much. We are going to put all these issues together, and like I said at the beginning, whoever will be elected into the office, we are going to have a meeting after the elections and sit down, go through the issues, work out a plan of implementation, and make sure that these issues are actually implemented. So thank you very much, and God bless you. Maybe you can have a prayer. Then we have some tea and snacks at the back. Please make sure you grab something before you leave.
And then before we pray, I would like to ask, because there is the commitment memorandum to be presented to them.
Yeah, I think we'll share with them. They can go through it, and then we can arrange for signing later.
All right.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
So
Yes.
Reverend Kanake can say a word of prayer for us. He's a governing council member of Kara and also a reverend. Please, so that we can release our candidates.
Good morning. Yes, like you have heard, my name is Reverend Kanake, board member of Kara. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for being here today. And my job is very simple, to pray so that we are discharged with God's grace. If you have a heart, remove it. Thank you. Let's pray. Lord, we come to you to thank you for this morning that we have had an engagement with our leadership. Just 2 weeks to come, or 3 weeks, so that we have a new government leaders. I want to appreciate each one of them for the effort, for the engagement, even the content they have. I know, Lord, you have given them a moment of reflection and reviewing and re-engaging. I know it is quite a job and a half. We want to thank everybody, and I thank you, Lord, for bringing them here. And as you take them home, just cover them with your blood. For we are praying that our governor next season is going to be a governor appointed by you, O Lord, so that we have the posterity and life put together in a manner that is more productive and more effective. We are praying this, for we believe and trust in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Let's give them a round of applause, please. A big thanks to